Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today we witness one of the top 4 matches taken from the spring 2016 season of War Master Sam Mann's Black Crusade, his online competitive Conquest LCG League. At the bottom of our screen we've got user Greenpeace and up north we have vonfersen. Both of these are going to be European players in the Loyalist Legion, and they're currently deciding whether or not they want to keep their respective opening hands. Right away, we see a definite problem card for Broderick Worr. Vonfersen up top, that is going to be the signature support forward barracks, and now it's going to be up to Worr as to whether or not he wants to keep an opening hand with an economy unit, an economy/combat unit, a couple copies of preemptive barrage, as well as a Steel Legion Chimera. The first 3 planets are all green. Initiative is in the possession of Eldar, but green definitely favors Broderick with that global attack bonus, the immunity to retreating and routing. And then for Eldorath here, note both players are currently deciding whether or not they want to keep their opening hands. Greenpeace has got a signature army unit, he's got his signature attachment, mobility, to potentially put onto Starbane's Council. He could threaten planet number 1 quite nicely, he could put mobility on it to move it away from planet number 1, a lot of different options there, but he's also got a Wild Rider Viper, something that we actually saw put to spectacular use in another video. This is going to synergize great with, go figure, mobility, and the mobile keyword printed upon units like Soaring Falcon, a nice drone defense system recipient, and of course a Wild Rider squadron. But Greenpeace does decide to keep his opening hand, and the same thing can be said for vonfersen. Couple of copies of Nullify and a Gift of Isha as well, which is a nightmarish combo with Wild Rider Viper here. So it's going to be back to vonfersen, or rather to vonfersen for the first time, and that's going to be that copy of Forward Barracks. Last time I had the opportunity and honor to witness Greenpeace in action, I don't think he was running Subdual, and this is definitely a difficult thing for an Eldar player to surmount. Vonfersen indicates that he got lucky, and, one out of the... I think he was actually playing with 52 cards in his deck. That is very lucky indeed that you draw that in your opening hand. So Greenpeace, I can only imagine there's a bit of sarcasm in him saying, I'm glad for you. But here we see it. That's going to be Starbane's Council at planet number 1. Anything that Broderick Worr plays opposite of this unit is going to be potentially exhausted by Eldorath and then hit by the Council for 5. We've got a Steel Legion Chimera at 1, and what really kind of sucks about this is it's got 4 hit points, and with a 2 shield value card, it survives the attack of a Starbane's Council, and then at the end of the combat round, that generates a token. Although, if Eldorath doesn't show up at this planet, the Starbane's Council has to attack first with initiative, and it only does so for 3, which is insufficient to kill the Steel Legion Chimera, and then the Chimera could attack back for 3 and potentially clear out the Starbane's Council here. So looks like Broderick is going to be playing pretty heavily to planet number 1. He's certainly got the luxury of shield cards there. Sakalem Shrine Guard, positioned at a green planet, is going to be a 3/2 for the cost of 1. Greenpeace passes. He's got 2 copies of Nullify to knock out those preemptive barrages, and now it looks like vonfersen may have gotten pretty lucky indeed with his opening hand. Rogue Trader at planet number 4, opposite that copy of Soaring Falcon, promoted. 3 command icons beats 2. And now Eldorath has got to make a very difficult choice here. So where is Broderick going to go? Where exactly is Eldorath going to go? Planet number 1 is the Steel Resource planet, which is green. And it looks like we're going to see Broderick go to 3, and Eldorath instead arrives at 4. So Broderick is going to be able to do a forced random card discarded from Eldorath's hand, and Eldorath is going to be able to kill off that copy of Rogue Trader, and he's winning a couple of cards of command, and he's going to be able to take a look at the top 3 cards of his deck for any one card that he would like. Starbane's Council with mobility is going to be able to shift nicely away from this planet. Greenpeace loves to play as long a command game as is possible. So let's see. Starbane's Council can kind of remove itself or extricate itself from planet number 1 if it doesn't want to try to kill off that Escalating Shrine Guard. And both of our players are currently collecting their respective income. Greenpeace is drawing a couple of cards. Like a proper Sir, vonfersen asks if he can take command because Eldar means the possibility for superiority here. And this is where things are going to be a little bit interesting. So, Greenpeace got a total of 2 cards. Wild Rider Squadron, which again synergizes with Wild Rider Viper. And vonfersen instead got 2 cards and 2 resources. At planet number 1, we've got Mobile, resulting in the Starbane's Council shifting away from that planet. And we drew an Ammo Depot and a Void Pirate. So, a hell of a lot of card income for vonfersen. And now I can only imagine that for his sake, he's really hoping that he's going to have an opportunity to draw some combat units, because otherwise that's a lot of card draw and not a whole hell of a lot to do with the cards you're drawing. Planet number 1 is going to be captured, but there's no battle ability which can be triggered because Greenpeace quite cleverly or coincidentally got rid of all of his resources, and like, I'm sure it's not a coincidence, okay, I'm just talking out my ass here. Wild Rider Squadron is randomly discard. Soaring Falcon attacks for 1, and that is going to be a dead Rogue Trader plus a promotion gone. So very interesting choice that he did decide to do that. I mean, just play the Rogue Trader at that planet with the promotion. It was a good target for Eldorath, but I suppose that way you're not making sure, like, Eldorath is only winning the 2 cards versus, say, 2 cards from the Falcon and a couple of resources or something along those lines there. Though I suppose I wouldn't have been terribly surprised to see maybe that Rogue Trader played it barless, but anyways, let's see. HQ phase, 4 resources, 2 cards for each of our players. And this is going to be a very interesting inclusion indeed in Greenpeace's deck. I don't believe that I've still got proxy image packs installed, so that's going to be a copy of Colony Shield Generator to protect his supports like Bonesinger Choir. So a lot of people don't think Bonesinger Choir is worth the investment, and not to say anything negative about Greenpeace's deck building, but I just find it very curious that he must value Bonesinger Choir to the extent that he wants to protect it with these Colony Shield Generators, although it is a nice convenient deploy stall. For vonfersen, he got another signature card. That's going to be his attachment, Commissarial Bolt Pistol, as indicated by the chat log. My eyes are not deceiving me. That is going to be a copy of Colony Shield Generator. With this attachment, War is going to be at an attack value of 3, and whenever an army unit, not a token, but an army unit leaves play from his planet, you can deal a point of damage to a target army unit at his planet. So Eldorath has still got a couple of copies of Nullify, but he's only going to be able to knock out 1 copy of Preemptive Barrage, not both, because it does require exhausting your Warlord. Greenpeace has dropped out that Colony Shield Generator. He's now dropped out a copy of Bonesinger Choir. It decreases the cost of Eldar vehicles or Eldar drone trait units to a minimum of 1. Wild Rider Viper at present could be played for 3 resources, but not 2. So we're just 1 shy. vonfersen still sitting at 5 resources after dropping off a Void Pirate to planet number 5, which is Atrox, the planet which allows you to take a shot at an adjacent planet or the enemy HQ. Ammo Depot results in a Rogue Trader being drawn. I'm going to go ahead and close out of my Dropbox. Nobody needs to see that. And I believe Greenpeace has now passed, and it is going to be back to vonfersen. He's got 5 resources, and he could put out his Bolt Pistol. He could also do his Rogue Trader. The movement of Broderick is going to be rather restricted owing to the presence of the Steel Legion Chimera and the Escalating Shrine Guard. We've got a Rogue Trader at 2, and now I'll just be very curious to see, is Broderick going to be going to planet number 2 to set himself up to capture that planet, or is he instead going to be going to planet number 1? So let us think about this for a moment, because thanks to Forward Barracks, our mathematics is pretty clear. Let's say if Broderick does not go to planet number 1, if Eldorath goes to this planet, that's basically a guarantee guaranteed dead Mystic Warden, and then that will allow no opportunity for forward barracks to trigger. If Broderick goes to planet number 1, whether or not Eldorath arrives, the odds of Broderick being able to win that planet are essentially 100%. And both of our players are currently deciding where they want to send their respective forces. I wouldn't be surprised to see Broderick steamroll planet number 1 and then just continue his train to planet number 2, and for that reason, I wouldn't be shocked to see Eldorath arrive at planet number 5, just to take a shot at the units that may presumably be in War's HQ. Interestingly enough, we did not see the Commissarial Bolt Pistol used as an attachment, so it gives him another 3 shield value card, because it's not as if Preemptive Barrage is completely without merits in regard to shielding. Broderick does decide to go to planet number 1, and is Eldorath going to be going to planet number 5? Yes, it is, so that's, I guess, another nice little setup for our poor war player there. Not that I should really feel any sympathy for either of these players, but that's going to be a knocked out Void Pirate, 3 command struggles, 1 for Eldorath, and just 2 for Broderick, but he might be able to achieve critical mass. What's interesting is the Starbane's Council is going to be able to potentially reposition itself to planet number 2. Aatrox Prime is going to fire at all of these units, and presuming that may be the case, I'll be very curious to see if War is going to be able to win at planet number 2, or if otherwise he's going to have victory snatched out from under him, because if you note, not a green planet, not a green planet, not a green planet. So, no trigger for Yvarn, and in regard to income, we saw vonfersen with 2 cards, 2 resources, Staging Ground, Void Pirate, and then the opposite end of the table, our Eldar player is going to be 3 cards and 3 resources. One of these is a copy of Drone Defense System. That Mystic Warden was sacrificed at the end of the battle, and so here's what's going to happen. In our HQ phase, this will be 7 resources. We could see a Wild Rider Viper played for 3, which is 4 left. We could potentially have these 2 winning command on a couple of different planets, and we could also have a drone defense system strategically positioned on, say, this Soaring Falcon. The Steel Legion Chimera and Escalating Shrine Guard are going to be sent to this planet, only to arrive exhausted, and drone defense system attached to this Soaring Falcon could make pretty quick work of them. So I would not have been surprised to have seen a sweeping, crushing, 3-planet sweep for vonfersen, but now I wouldn't be surprised if we see Broderick Worr's momentum just blunted, and then he just gets absolutely destroyed and annihilated by our Eldar player, who's been able to kind of stretch himself out and win a bunch of command, because if you don't have units that survive battles, like note, Starbane's Council hits like a truck, as does Wild Rider Viper, that is definitely going to be a hell of a thing there. We see a copy of Preemptive Barrage discarded quite cleverly as a shield to ensure that the Escalating Shrine Guard, currently not positioned at a planet, is not destroyed. We see our last planet of the game, which is going to be Iridial, the healing planet, and it is green. An HQ phase means 4 resources and 2 cards for each player. Snakebite Thug, drawn by vonfersen, as well as another copy of Void Pirate, which is potentially going to be just easily outclassed by these Bealtan Guardians, the same price, but double the command icons. Another couple of copies of Soaring Falcon for Eldorath, and he's going to have to try to win the game at planet number 1. And I can only imagine that vonfersen is maybe thinking he really needs to kind of get his act together and try and pull out an early victory, because if he manages to let victory escape his grasp, then he's going to be fighting an extraordinarily uphill battle, and I can only imagine he cannot feel good about the presence of this Wild Rider Viper, played for 3 at 1. We've got a copy of Staging Ground, so I can only imagine he is praying that he ends up drawing something combat-wise 2 or lower cost that he can put into play during combat with that effect. I guess worst case scenario is it's a nice bit of versatility. And when it comes to just blocking off Broderick from winning at planet number 1, he's got that 5/4 Wild Rider Viper, and further, he's got a copy of Gift of Isha, which could return it to play. He's also got a copy of Starbane's Council. Both of these units are going to be showing up exhausted, and because of this Soaring Falcon, which can move from planet 2 to threaten planet number 1 and planet number 3, it's now got a copy of Drone Defense System. Wherever these Steel Legion Chimera and these Escalating Shrine Guard show up, that could potentially just spell disaster for the Shrine Guard being annihilated, the Legion being practically annihilated. The Legion Chimera here only prevents attack source, well, hinders or reduces attack sources of damage as opposed to damage dealt through card effects. Vonfersen applauds the quality of that DDS right there because, yeah, I mean, what exactly are we going to be seeing? That's going to be the double Bealtan Guardians, and now this is looking really grim for Vonfersen. I think if I were him, and not to say he doesn't have a chance at this point, but I would not be favoring my odds. Wouldn't you know it? He draws into a copy of Squigbomben. Interestingly enough, a Bonesinger Choir would normally fall prey to being destroyed by that. But Colony Shield Generator is a thing, so the first time, maybe the only time I ever see this card, it is nice to note that it's got some protective value here. So we've got 2 Bealtan Guardians opposite 2 copies of Void Pirate. Looks like we didn't see the Ammo Depot exhaust. So I will just say, can confirm I see it as ready. Shrug. So, anyway, perhaps my presence is okay. Now exhausted. So, with that taken care of, we are good to go. So, Greenpeace has got 1 resource, Vonfersen has got 7 resources. Greenpeace appears to have passed, totally out of card effects to use, and now it's going to be back to Vonfersen. So what exactly are we going to be seeing for Broderick Worr? Broderick could drop a Snakebite Thug at planet number 1. We could also see Broderick himself pick up a copy of Commissarial Bolt Pistol, but that Soaring Falcon is going to pose a huge threat to Broderick's ability to win planet number 1. It can even wait until the ideal situation presents itself, like Broderick only attacks for 2, 3 at most, and if we wait until Broderick is exhausted, then Drone Defense System hits him just as well as it damages anything else, and the same thing can be said with Snakebite Thug. Really the only thing not working in Eldorath's favor is that prior to this just devastating command phase, reeling in a ton of cards he's got going, he doesn't have a huge volume of shield cards, but Gift of Isha could just as easily be used in a pinch to preserve the Soaring Falcon here. But I think if it were me, I would just go for the suboptimal use of it. We've seen no Inquisitorial Fortress, so that means that Broderick is not going to be able to conveniently banish the Soaring Falcon away from this planet, and it looks like things are starting to go all the way crappy for Broderick. So let us think about this for a moment. Vonfersen's got to be assessing his possible victory condition. Planet number 1, I do not at all favor his odds of winning. In fact, I put them close to 0. So what else can he do? He's got a red and a blue icon. He could pick up planet 2 and 4 as if it were that easy, which it's not, and that would result in a victory there. Or alternatively, he could go for planets 3 and 4 and try to win through red icons. But unless he sends his Warlord to planet 4 and drops off that Escalating Shrine Guard and the Steel Legion Infiltrator, he's not going to be able to evade the Soaring Falcon, which can swoop in and deal a significant amount of damage to his units. So yeah, things are looking pretty crappy here. Vonfersen laments his situation. It definitely is not easy. Because if Broderick goes to 1, he's going to have 1 combatant I imagine he'll play the Snakebite Thug at 1 if he does decide to go there, but he'll have a couple of combatants at most. He'll have some shield cards, and that's not a whole hell of a lot he can do with that. At planet number 2, the Wild Rider Viper and the Starbane's Council could harass his Warlord. What we could also see is planet number 3, the Soaring Falcon, could show up at that planet, and Wild Rider Viper could follow. We could have mobile from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and then after all these units move simultaneously, the Wild Rider Viper can react to that and follow the Soaring Falcon, which was once at this planet. And I guess with that said, it's even possible that we could see the Vashiat Trailblazer move from 3 to 4, and if that's the case, Wild Rider Viper could potentially hop all the way down to planet number 4 as well, just to harass Broderick Worr and potentially deal out some significant damage to him, abetted with that copy of Gift of Isha. So really, wherever Broderick goes, with the sole exception of planet number 5, he's going to be up against a hell of a lot, and if he does go to planet number 5, he's going to be so ineffectually just far away from any possible victory condition. Like, he's going to be dropping off his only units well outside of his opponent's victory condition, and he's already just getting crushed in an economic sense. Eldorath instead, where could Eldorath go? Eldorath could pretty much show up anywhere. Eldorath could even be a little bit of a cheeky bastard and show up at planet number 4 just in case Broderick does arrive at that planet, and then that's going to be each and every planet. Like, if Broderick arrives and Eldorath arrives, that's going to be every command struggle won by Eldorath. So perhaps we'll see a very early conclusion to this game, or perhaps our players are going to be playing it out to the very last moment, but I certainly do not favor Broderick's odds. Looks like both players are going to decide to go to planet number 1, so I guess if you're going to go out, you may as well go out swinging. This is going to be every single command struggle won by Eldorath. No Void Pirates, no Rogue Traders, but that is just crushing. I definitely feel for my Broderick Worr playing brother here, and as you can tell in the chat log, he's got a smile on his face, but perhaps on the inside he is crying. That is an incredible 6 cards and 3 resources for greenpeace. He drew a lot of combat units, which is not great, but at the moment greenpeace, what are we on, planet 3, and he's already drawn through 22 cards in his deck, or I believe he started with 51, so let's go ahead and call it 23 cards. So this is how things are going to crumble for Broderick. Soaring Falcon repositions itself to planet number 1. Broderick Worr is going to be the only available combatant. We could see Staging Ground drop a Snakebite Thug into play. It's going to be Eldorath's Initiative, which could be Wild Rider Viper attacking Broderick Worr, may as well be, or you could attack the Steel Legion Chimera. It doesn't really matter too much. I guess if it were me, I would just have the Wild Rider Viper attack Worr, or you could have Eldorath attack. That would probably actually be the safest thing to do, is have Eldorath attack first against the Steel Legion Chimera, and just let all that damage stack up. Your opponent would have to throw out a shield card to protect the Chimera, but anyways, point is, combat is ongoing. We're going to see an attack of 5 directed toward Broderick. It's going to be cut down to 4, thanks to the protection of the Steel Legion Chimera, and then again, need I say it, as soon as Broderick Worr exhausts, he's going to leave himself susceptible to being picked off by drone defense systems. So we see that 3 shield card discarded. Maybe we'll have to see Broderick retreat, perhaps not. But Broderick only takes 1 point of damage. 4 minus 3 is, of course, 1. Aren't you impressed by my math skills? And now it's up to Broderick. Broderick, are you going to turn tail and run from this planet and allow all of your units to be outright annihilated? What exactly are you going to do? We could see the Snakebite Thug drop into play at any time, but it's not really going to make any kind of appreciable difference at this planet. We do see Staging Ground used now, and this is pretty interesting. What exactly is it going to be attacking? So it's going to be Broderick Worr's opportunity to swing, and greenpeace had indicated he's not he does not have an action. Both players indicate that there's no action. And is it going to be a retreat, or is it going to be an attack with the Snakebite Thug directed toward maybe the Starbane's Council? That is indeed going to be the answer. Do we see a copy of Nullify discarded, or perhaps a copy of Drone Defense System? Neither of those is going to be too incredibly valuable, and vonfersen is down to paltry 2 cards in hand. Nullify is discarded, and that means the Starbane's Council survives. And now, do we see Drone Defense System, or need we wait? I think ideally you want to let the Starbane's Council have a swing at Broderick when he's already exhausted, but no, looks like Starbane's Council is going to be attacking for a total of 5 into that Steel Legion Chimera. We've only got a 2 shield value card, and that is going to be insufficient to preserve the Steel Legion Chimera. We've seen the Commissarial Bolt Pistol discarded, so there's no more concealing anything, really, from our Eldar player. And that Forward Barracks, man, I mean, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but 2 resources, it still costs a lot of tempo, and just the fact that we weren't able to see more combat units is really holding back Broderick here. I'd kind of be surprised if we see Forward Barracks trigger a single time this entire game, and a waste of 2 resources and 1 card it may be. Greenpeace indicates no action. There should be no action for Broderick Worr. So is Broderick Worr going to retreat or not? Broderick might be able to kill off this copy of Starbane's Council, but we could also see a copy of Gift of Isha used to return it to play, and then that would be Drone Defense System hitting Broderick, and it would be a Starbane's Council hitting Broderick for 5. So the options here are not good. Broderick probably should retreat. It's not going to be a feel-good thing, and it's kind of delaying the inevitable, as much as I hate to kind of be a bit of a pessimist and realist for this video, but Greenpeace has still indicated that he is done. Why don't we go ahead and wait for our Commissar and see what, if anything, he is going to do. Okay, Broderick Worr retreats, and he is deciding to attack. If it were me, I would just let that unit die, and then I would punish Broderick with the returning it to play a little bit later here. So we're going to be seeing Drone Defense System now, and this is going to be a bloodied Broderick Worr very shortly indeed. So that is Drone Defense System, exhausts the attached unit, the Soaring Falcon. So the Snakebite Thug has taken 2 points of damage. The Rogue Trader is dead. I assume the Escalating Shrine Guard is going to be dead. Broderick takes 2 points of damage. Okay, well, I guess we saw Escalating Shrine Guard protected by Preemptive Barrage, and this is really interesting because, yep, that is going to be the Gift of Isha. I mean, what were you honestly expecting, vonfersen? Again, not to speak any ill of this player, but, like, man, when Eldorath has 10 cards in hand, that is going to be a Starbane's Council return to play, and now it's going to be an attack of 5 directed toward Broderick, and all we can do is shave off 1 point. So that is going to be a bloodied Broderick Worr, and this game does not at all favor Broderick. So Broderick is now a 2-5. The Escalating Shrine Guard is a paltry 1-1, and even if you'd have used Preemptive Barrage to protect Broderick, I believe you still would have been bloodied by the Starbane's Council there. So Eldorath is going to be taking a swing at the Snakebite Thug. There's just a 1-value shield card remaining in vonfersen's hand, and this game is 100% unwinnable at this point by poor Broderick. But what exactly are we going to be seeing? Are we going to see that shield card used or not? We're at least going to be out of ready Eldar units with which to attack, but at the end of a combat round, we generate a 1-2 Guardsman token, and then it's going to be Eldorath's opportunity to attack first, and this Wild Rider Viper can clear out anything it tries to destroy, and if the Snakebite Thug is shielded against... If it's protected now, it'll either kill itself when it attacks, or it'll be annihilated by the Wild Rider Viper, and this Escalating Shrine Guard as a 1-1 is not exactly threatening, and the same thing to be said with a 1-2 Guardsman token. But that Snakebite Thug is destroyed, and I cannot help but feel if it were me, I'd be strongly considering throwing out the GG right now, but... I guess let's see what is going to be happening. This is going to be a guardsman token created. We've got no planets captured by Eldorath. Eldorath decides to stay with each and every one of his units. Vonfersen now has the choice because Broderick is going to be bloodied, and he decides to stay with each and every one of these units. The Soaring Falcon is going to be able to hang around until all of these units are exhausted. And this... Oh, I'm sorry. So the Escalating Shrine Guard is a 2-2. It's not a 3-2. It's still got its printed ability. But the Wild Rider Viper kills it. That's going to be 1 point of damage dealt to the Wild Rider Viper in return by this Guardsman token, and now it's going to be... I guess it may as well be the Soaring Falcon to finish the job. Or the Starbane's Council. It doesn't really matter too much. The Council is going to go ahead and take a swing, and that's a guaranteed dead Guardsman token. That's going to be a Planet 1 by Eldorath, and that's going to be a forced card randomly discarded, and it's going to be this copy of Squigbomben. So interesting, I guess, that we didn't see Squigbomben played prior to the discard just to get rid of a colony shield generator, so Vonfersen is down to no cards in hand. He does still have an ammo depot and forward barracks, but his warlord is bloodied. Eldorath is starting to have a significant combat presence all over these planets here. We get a suppressive fire and no more than a mere rattling Deadeye. Initiative is going to be in Broderick Worr's possession. He's going to have to hope and pray for something remarkable with that ammo depot, but I'm not sure that Broderick Worr can include any cards in his deck that are sufficient to pull him out at this point. Greenpeace has 6 resources, but he's also got a copy of Bone Singer Choir, so we may as well call it 8. At planet number 1, this copy of Rattling Deadeye is only going to be able to attack for 1. Bone Singer Choir enables this Wild Rider Viper to be played for the cost of 3, and it's looking like this is going to be just another economic landslide here for Eldorath. Broderick is going to have to use his first combat action, or one of his first combat actions, to be able to retreat from a planet, because otherwise he could potentially just get smashed by units like Wild Rider Viper here. Like, for instance, if Eldorath, during the command phase, is sent to planet 3... what we could see is when we start combat and we've got the opportunity to do mobile, we could have let's say Broderick is at this planet. We could have Wild Rider Viper mobile, Trailblazer mobile, then this other Viper mobile from Eldorath's possible destination over to all be stacked at the same planet as War. And once all that simultaneous movement occurs, then the Wild Rider Vipers at whatever planet can react to each and every one of those triggers, and that could result in these units being able to hunt down Broderick wherever he goes, and he's not going to be able to stand up against attacks valued at 5 for long. We've got Ammo Depot used to get another copy of Ammo Depot. That's used to get a copy of Summary Execution. That's a cantrip effect in that it replaces itself, but man, talk about a card you're not exactly wanting to see. We've got 3 command units that are handily outclassed by what Eldorath can bring to the table. Summary Execution is essentially a dead card, because making a planet green doesn't actually provide any appreciable benefit right now. Greenpeace is deciding where exactly he wants to send his warlord. Vonfersen's got a copy of Suppressive Fire, but he's running rather short on units with which to use it. Broderick is going to be showing up at 3, and Eldorath is going to be showing up at 3, and this is about heartbreaking. Yeah, Vonfersen says nice call, but the reality of it is this is going to be every single planet again won by Eldorath. The winner of today's game is going to be moving to the championships of the spring 2016 season of the Black Crusade. They've made it this far. They've gone through 6 rounds of Swiss. They passed top 32, top 16, top 8. This is the top 4. Only one player is going to be able to win. Greenpeace gets another 4 cards and 3 resources. I believe it's 29 cards that we've seen Greenpeace draw relative to the 21 cards of Vonfersen, and that's counting 2 copies of Ammo Depot here. So Greenpeace currently sitting at 3 resources. Let's see if we've got any mobile to be used. This Rattling Deadeye is going to have an opportunity to take a shot, but I definitely do not favor its chances of doing anything at all significant. Yeah, no mobile whatsoever, so very interesting effect. I guess it'll be Rattling Deadeye taking a shot at probably the Wild Rider Viper, but yep, it's not going to make much difference. We see Foresight used, and that's interesting that we did see that used as a shield, just because I would kind of imagine that Eldorath would have wanted to try to make sure that he always sends himself to the same planet as Broderick Worr. Starbane's Council swings, kills that Rattling Deadeye. That's going to be Eldorath having the opportunity to look at the top 3 cards of his deck and to add one of those to his hand. It's going to be a blue and a green icon now in Eldorath's victory display. That's another copy of drone defense system, which, by the way, can be used at a planet, not while a battle is ongoing at a planet. Initiative is in the possession of Eldorath, and is Broderick, or sorry, it's in the possession of Broderick Worr. Is he going to be attacking? He's not really up against a whole hell of a lot, so I guess he could get a little bit of chip damage done, but he's not sitting at that healing planet, and the fewer planets there are available, the less and less likely Broderick is going to be able to do really much of anything. So Wild Rider Viper is going to potentially take 2 total points of damage. Looks like, are we going to see a shield or not? We've only got 1 value shield cards. We see a drone defense system used as a shield. So the Wild Rider Viper is sitting with 2 HP remaining. Eldorath and the Bealtaine Guardians are going to be able to attack Broderick. We will see forward barracks trigger and create a guardsman token, but I'm not exactly convinced that that's going to make any kind of difference whatsoever. Worr now has 4 hit points remaining, and is he going to take another point of damage? He has 3 hit points remaining. Worr took a bit of a gamble in exhausting himself because Starbane's Council being hit with Gift of Isha would have resulted in game over right there. But at this point, I think it's probably safe to say that vonfersen does not favor his odds. So is he going to be retreating with his Warlord, or is he otherwise going to be staying at that planet? The combat round... Okay, both players decide to stay, so it looks like Broderick Worr must be accepting his fate. Or perhaps not. So Suppressive Fire is going to be used by Void Pirate to exhaust the Wild Rider Viper, and now it's just going to be the Soaring Falcon, the Bealtaine Guardian, and Eldorath up against Broderick Worr. We've only got a 1 shield value card, so Broderick is going to have to be very careful with what he attacks, because he's looking like he could end up being killed, like it's a possible 4 points of damage he could take, and he's only got a 1 shield value card. So Broderick is going to have an opportunity to attack. If it's at the Bealtaine Guardians, that's the only way he's going to be able to survive, because he will be able to kill it, and then he'll take 3 points of damage, which he can shield. Okay, never mind. Well, slightly never mind. The Guardsman token is going to be delivering an attack, but we could see this shielded by a drone defense system, which we do. So now it's going to be the Bealtaine Guardians attacking Broderick Worr, and if he decides to hang around, then that is going to be an assassinated Warlord. So the Bealtaine Guardians attacks. That's going to be 2 points of damage remaining on Broderick Worr, and if he knows what's good for him, he's going to retreat, but no, he decides to stay, and he's basically going to be accepting his fate. He attacks the Wild Rider Viper. It's going to be destroyed, and now Eldorath plus the Soaring Falcon are going to be resulting in the death of Broderick Worr, and it looks like drone defense system is going to be triggered. That's 2 points of damage dealt to Broderick Worr. Is he going to be discarding a copy of Summary Execution to prevent that killing blow? Looks like the answer is yes. So now it's going to be up to Eldorath. And there it is. vonfersen calls out the GG, so good game, well played. A tremendous congratulations to the Eldorath Starbane of user Greenpeace advancing to the finals of the spring 2016 season of the Black Crusade. So that was a hell of a game. It definitely goes to show that a lot of people were thinking Broderick Worr is the de facto #1. Numerically, I guess that's still Packmaster Kith, but Eldorath ended up winning the 2016 United States of America National Championships, and Eldorath is doing a hell of a job thus far in the spring season of the Black Crusade. So, incredibly well-played game by Greenpeace. Frankly speaking, War did not really stand a chance, but vonfersen certainly put up a hell of a fight. So, my dear viewers, make sure to tune in to catch the championship match. 187 players entered, but of course, in the end, only one can be crowned, our reigning champion of the Black Crusade Chaos. So, thank you for accompanying me on this journey so far. We're almost to the end. One more to go. As always, if you enjoyed this content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video. More views, more engagement means more people are exposed to Conquest. We'll continue to grow this living card game. Get in touch with me on social media. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and if you have any inclination or the barest modicum of desire to support the Hive Tyrant, I would be deeply moved and appreciative of even a small contribution to my Patreon. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and once again, be sure to check back in again soon for much more living card game content to come.